Good morning, everybody. This is Grand Admiral Andal Starsaber. We're currently in the midst of the countdown to the heroic Sith raid. Today, I'm going to demonstrate a full solo of this raid. This will be a little bit longer video because it does take a little bit of time to get through all four of the phases, but it's the heroic Sith Triumverate raid, so one can expect that. Now, you can see we're about 7 minutes away from start time. I'm getting set up here. I'm going to go over my setup and discuss kind of the strategy going into it as we prepare to go into the raid itself. So first of all, the team composition here. It's a very straightforward team. I mean, the key factor that everyone knows about is Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. If you've seen my other videos, you've seen him before in all his glory. I don't change anything with the modding. I have him at 551 speed, and he has about 135,000 health, which is not super relevant to this battle, but it is a factor in getting through or being survivable when I need him to be survivable. And the damage specifically is pretty high at almost 13,000, so that makes a pretty big difference in how this fight progresses. So he's the main character. Aiding him and nearly always at his side is his alter ego, Kylo Ren Unmasked. Kylo Ren Unmasked, I don't change anything with his modding either. Very high defense, and the health is not particularly high, 80,000, almost 60,000 protection, not very high either, but almost 77% armor is the key aspect of it. So the damage he does take will be reduced pretty significantly from attacks. And it'll stack over, his health will also stack a little bit over time, I believe. But in this, it's really not that important. He's just there to keep up that permataunt and keep most specifically, the Annihilates off of Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, his alter ego. Now, beyond that, there's also Thrawn. Thrawn's got the standard modding I put on him before. That gives him 300 speed on the nose. And that's really all that he has to do is to pass turn meter and to fracture. Next, we have Hux. He is wearing my very fast speed mods, and that gets him up to 317 speed. So he'll go pretty often. And last but not least, and I haven't done anything with his mods either, is Hermit Yoda. My Hermit Yoda is not yet Gear 13. He will be eventually, but he is wearing some decent speed mods, and he's up to 285. He's not as fast as most of the other team members, and really it's not all that critical. I could probably do this with less on the team, like literally 4-man, 3-man, or maybe even 2-man, like some people have done. I'm not going to do that here because that would be a longer video. I don't have any editing software that can speed through the fight, so I'm not going to go through that. But I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what I do this with and how it works. And they're just going to pass a lot of turn meter to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, so he gets as many turns as possible, builds up his ultimate, and excuse me, and he builds up his siphon stacks as high as he can. So he starts to do some really vicious hits near the end of the phase. Like, you'll see him jump from 50% to 0% health left in a matter of a couple of turns there. That's just excuse me, how quickly it works. The damage just ramps up that very high. So that's kind of the strategy going into it. The idea here is you don't want to take a lot of annihilates. Phase 1 is by far the most dangerous phase in this entire encounter. There's a little bit of danger in phase 4, but you tend to burn through nihilists so quickly that it's really not that big of a concern. You might have one annihilate taken during that entire encounter, and usually I'll still have Kylo Ren Unmasked still alive by that phase, so usually, even if I play things very badly, I can usually survive the encounter if I screw up. But sometimes you just got to pay attention, because if you don't, it'll get away from you, and Ninja Annihilate will get through, and it'll take out Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and you're done. So that's really the only obstacle standing in the way. The rest is just following a very prescribed strategy of building up the siphons. I usually try to stack the siphons up so when the actual when I start to look at finishing the phase, I have about 500 when I'm in normal mode, or if I'm in the ultimate, it's over 1,000. Because once that you start siphoning, um, or once you have siphoned up to 1,000, and then you steal his master, your damage will ramp up pretty ridiculously. You'll be seeing multiple million hits in every time you attack. So it's up there. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate for you in this video. We got about a minute and a half left, but once we get started here, I'll kind of go through it. So really the prioritization here is I like to go ahead and try to use Kylo Ren and Mass to stun one of the ads there. That way you can do one of the AoEs off of them and do a little bit more mastery siphoning early on. You just want to try to ramp up that damage, ramp up that siphon as quickly as possible. Tend the phase quickly, because obviously enrage could be a problem, and phase 1 is also the highest risk of enrage, so you want to get around that. And then it's just trying to get as many of those get his stun off as much as possible to build that siphon up as quickly as possible. So that's your goal in this whole thing. Build up the siphon, suck mastery as much as you can, and build up your ultimate. Those 3 things, and you'll get through. And that's true for every phase. It doesn't really matter what phase you're in. You're just trying to build up your siphon and drain the mastery so you can do that high damage and end the phase before enrage. So now we can see we're about 10 seconds away. We'll get started here. I think it'll automatically set up my team, but it might not, based on, I think the heroic challenge ranker might have screwed up my team setup, so we'll see in a second. And yep, it's just got a full first order team. That's not what I want. I want to make sure that I set up my team properly. So I bring in Hux and Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and then Hermit Yoda. So there's the team setup. Itching to go. Something I might experiment with in the future is a Wat Tambor versus Hermit Yoda lineup. Might get a few more attacks off that way, but we'll hold off on that for now. I'm not trying to experiment in the purpose of this video, just in case something goes sideways. But I just wanted to test that out somewhere in the future. Now, so as you can see there, we got one stasis strike off, and then you got a second one. We're built up to 80. We'll go ahead and pass turn meter over at Kylo Ren Mass, because the next thing I want to do is do the AoE on a stun target. So we'll go ahead and fracture Nihilus, siphon as much of the mastery as we can, and just start burning and turning and burning here. So you always want to keep an eye on the status of Nihilus's annihilate. That's one key thing you want to be aware of. So now we're down to 5. That's not a big concern yet, but eventually it goes down very quickly. You want to make sure that you get that protection up, so or you want to get that shield up on Kylo Ren and Mass, so you can absorb the hit and not lose any characters. This is the one phase you really don't want to absorb a lot or lose a lot of characters. If you got a stasis strike up when the ultimate comes available, go ahead and do that, because you're still wanting to build up your siphon as much as possible. Then you can kick immediately into the ultimate. Okay, down to 4. Watch his AoE as well, because that can be a huge factor in whether he burns it down quickly or not. Just going to go ahead and attack. I don't think he'll drain more than enough. Get more stasis strikes in. Get one more, and then soon we're going to and make the third one into an AoE to try to drain some mastery and boost that damage up. We'll go ahead and cast that, because what I don't want to do is have two. I don't want him to go straight into an Annihilate this turn, because right now I don't have the ultimate on Splendid Kylo. I don't have the defense up on Kylo Ren Unmasked, so I'll make sure that's up first before I do it. But since the AoE is not available, I can go ahead and do a mass attack. And now we'll go ahead and key it right into the ultimate again. Then get a couple more stasis strikes. Now, next one will be his Annihilate, so I want to make sure that my Kylo Ren Unmasked, when he goes, he brings up the protection shield. Because what's going to happen is he'll key up right into his ultimate here, or his Annihilate here shortly. And I want to make sure that he takes that damage. And he does good. So now we can continue, and we can not worry about the Annihilate for a few rounds. Go ahead and do another Siphon Strike, trying to build up that mastery. Get some of that health back. Build up that ultimate some more. Not quite there, so we'll go ahead and do one more drain there. And you can see, even if I don't recover Kylo Ren Unmasks automatically, it'll pretty much do it anyway. So I'm not too concerned about his health. After he takes the Annihilate, he still powers through just fine. If you got the AoE coming up, that's a perfect time to throw up the foresights on everybody, because that reduces the amount of draining he does. Okay, we got up to 840, 920. If you got a basic up, you can go ahead and you got an ad up, you can attack the ads rather than the target directly. When you got them stunned, go ahead and drain it. Should be able to key into the ultimate rather shortly here. We'll do one more stasis strike just to key up to that 500 number. Now we get the 500 siphon. We're pretty much set to finish this phase of the battle. Once we kick in the next ultimate, you'll see the damage drop rather quickly. We'll go ahead and do another siphon just because, and yeah, one more. We'll go ahead and kick it off with the basic. You can see we're down to about 60% right now. Should be no problem. Get more than we need for the ultimate. I'll go ahead and kick off that ultimate. We'll just go ahead and start draining that mastery. You can see we're up to 1.6 million we hit there. Now that he's very close to the Annihilate, I'm going to go ahead and put this on Hux, even though I might be able to get it to Kylo Ren Unmasked. I'd rather not risk it. I'm just going to go ahead and just start burning. And you can keep using that mastery to and Hux got very high on health, or he got his turn back, so I'm going to go ahead and pass that turn back to Kylo Ren Unmasked. Make sure he takes the Annihilate instead. You always want to manage the Annihilates. That's the key component of surviving this entire encounter. We'll do that one more. We're up to 5 million those hits. Almost finished the round just there. Got a couple more hits left. And we'll just go ahead in with the basic, try to be in the ultimate at the beginning of the next phase. Pretty easy phase one. You just have to really manage where the annihilates are coming in, you got to make sure you stay ahead of those, because if you don't plan for those, he can surprise you because of the turn meter gain he gets from getting hit. And you always want to stay ahead of that and make sure to manage his annihilates. Now, going into this is pretty straightforward. You don't usually have an issue with the enrage. You don't usually have an issue. Nothing can kill you instantly, so it's really just a matter of trying to build up that siphon as quickly as you can. Now we got the Stasis Strike available, so we're going to delay at least one round on the ultimate, maybe two, depending on you. We're going to go ahead and siphon while we got a stun target up instead of going right in the ultimate and killing it off. Because this round here, these Lox Tux's health went down that much. That's not surprising. With that, what's it called? Press the advantage ability, your Hux goes away pretty quickly. He just loses his max health so quickly. You also start to see the same effects on Hermit Yoda and Red Ammo Thrawn, but since they're not as frequent, they tend to do it more slowly. So go ahead and, like before, build up the siphon a few times. Use the AoE to suck mastery in the third round. Once he gets there, so he hits harder. He's up to 160-some thousand that he hit there. Keep working around it past the turn to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren when you can. Build up Siphon some more. Shoot for that magic 500 number. Build towards the ultimate as quickly as possible. Didn't quite get there this time, so we'll just go ahead and do an AoE. Kick into the ultimate. Do a couple more siphons, trying to build that up some more. And on the third turn, do another AoE to gain some more mastery. And just build towards the ultimate again. Rinse, repeat. So you can see we're just building that Stasis Strike, kicking off the AoE for a little bit of mastery. Go to basic if you're between ultimates, of course. Now, fortunately, when you get to do that summon, it keys off a lot of crits and gets you right back into the ultimate again. That's where you want to be as much as possible, sitting in the ultimate. Go and do another Stasis Strike. We'll pass this to Supreme Leader Kylo, get the stun in, so we can do an AoE and get more mastery out of it. Good. Do another Stasis Strike, kick us back to regular mode. Getting close to that 500 number, that's where we want to be. Keep on attacking every chance you get. Build up some more Siphon. Another AoE to drain mastery. This should trigger the ultimate. Or very close to it. And it does. Alright. Getting very close to that key 1,000 number. One more Stasis Strike and then go into an AoE. Drain a lot more mastery, up to almost 2 million damage that hit. Go ahead and Stasis Strike. push this over that magic 500 number. So it'll be 1,000 with ultimate. And hopefully we'll kick into the ultimate here shortly. Not quite yet. Do another drain. Basic. You can see he's almost dead. He probably won't even last through the next ultimate. The way this is playing out, and seeing that he's down to about 15.9%, in fact, I'm just going to try to end the round with basic so we can start the next round with the ultimate right out the gate. Finish him off with basic, done. Now we move on to Treya. Treya is also very straightforward. She doesn't really do anything that is too dangerous this phase. You just keep on. You'll blow through her savers in a single hit on Supreme Leader Kylo Ren unless they have foresight. You notice that'll happen a lot. She'll spend most of the time not able to do anything because you'll take out the saber so quickly. So that's just something to be aware of. You don't really have to worry about that too much. Proceed in the same way. If you see foresight, try to take away that one. We'll go ahead and get the siphon off right out the gate. So you want to try to add as much siphon as you can. Kick into ultimate. That'll also knock out the sabers. Okay, keep passing the turn to Supreme Leader Kylo even when he doesn't need a whole lot. So all you're trying to do is just keep ramping up the siphon again. And we'll get one big mastery at the end of this turn to ramp up his damage. Okay, kicking off pretty good. Pretty good start here, right at the gate. Get another siphon strike, or stasis strike. Could be called siphon strike, because that's really what you're trying to do here is build. She'll put up the isolate on Supremely, or on Kylo Ren and Mass. It's not a big deal. It's not, you don't lose much in the process, but that does happen. Once you get there, kick right in the ultimate. That'll take down the other two sabers. And build some more siphon. And we'll keep doing that. Third turn will be the AoE again. Well, I did a siphon strike. Not the end of the world. Sometimes you'll screw up like that. Usually you want to try to get an AoE at the end there just to make the damage ramp up a little bit more. It's okay if you don't. It just might slow you down in the overall scheme of things. We'll go ahead and kick off an AoE there. Take out one of the sabers because the foresights were on the wrist. Do a basic to ramp him into close to the ultimate. Get another siphon off while we're at it. Might lose Thrawn. Not a big deal. Usually wind up losing everyone but Supreme Leader Kylo Ren by the end. And sometimes Kylo Ren and Mass survives with you. Alright, you can see Thrawn's getting very low on health from all the past turn meter up to now. Ramp up the damage. Kick into an AoE to ramp that damage some more. Got him to 450, very close to where I need him. They'll go after Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, which is no big deal. Do another AoE. Fracture. Kick into ultimate. Do another siphon strike to put us over. Now we'll start draining mastery left and right. Got one. Two. Do one more siphon strike while it's up. might kill Thrawn here. I wouldn't be surprised. Might survive, but we'll see. Throw on a little heal to try to solve that a little bit, but might not. Kind of a waste of Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, but that's okay. I'm not in a position where I'm particularly scared. She's got 6 turns to her enrage. We'll just siphon one more for really big basic hit to finish this off. Easy day. Well, over 7 million damage from those two hits from the basic. So now we go in the last phase, and this is same mechanics you've always faced. It's just insane patterns to build up siphon. Just got to keep working it, and it'll go through pretty quickly, you'll notice. We're 25 minutes in this video, and we started with 7 minutes from the start point. You can see things go rather quickly. We'll start with a call to assist there. Perfect timing on a stun. Kick off Fracture on Nihilus. Kick off Stasis Strike to build some siphon. Then kick off an AoE to move towards the ultimate and get a good strong siphon from a stun target. No problem. Now, being that he does the force drains from multiple targets with debuffs in this phase pretty much automatically, you really got to watch his annihilates more closely. That's something to be aware of. It's not a big deal necessarily, but you just want to be aware that might become a factor, because if you don't have the ultimate here on Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, and Kylo Ren and Mask doesn't have a taunt up, you may get taken out by that annihilate. So you want to avoid that, obviously. So you just go ahead and play it safe than sorry with the shield, and watch that timer on the annihilate as much as you can. We'll do another drain, kick right off into the next one. So now we can see there is no taunt up, so that's going to affect who they attack. Might kill Hermit Yoda here shortly. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Okay, do a nice little AoE. Lost Hermit Yoda. No surprises there. We'll go ahead and drop off the Isolate. Pop Nihilus again. Do a drain. We'll go ahead and kick that off so we make sure that the next phase will go right into, or the next turn will get annihilated. Do a little Mastery Drain. You also want to push Nihilus's turn meter as much as possible here, because you don't want him to lose that race. Good. Now we got that annihilate out of the way. We should probably be okay for the rest of this, the rest of the Nihilus part of the fight here. Get a couple more siphons. Ramp up that siphon as much as you can. Isolates out, no big deal. Let's go ahead and get that AoE. You can see we're under 50% health already. Haven't even got 300 siphon stack yet, so this phase goes rather quickly. Build it up some more. Kick off an AoE. Ramp up the ultimate some more. Okay, we'll go ahead and target Sion. cooldown, not surprised. Go ahead and do a couple of basics on Scion. That'll help catch up the ultimate. Watching the cooldowns, of course. Kick into the ultimate after another siphon. Takes out the ads in the ultimate. Siphon will probably kill Scion. Yep, does. Or not Scion, Nihilus. Just go ahead and throw that up there. Doesn't really hurt anything right now because no more annihilates in the battle. Drain some mastery. This phase will be over rather quickly at this point. Freya does not take long to defeat. Even though her damage is ramped up pretty significantly, and I have been able to cool that down with Hermit Yoda, which I sometimes get to do. You can see she's not breaching through Kylo Ren unmasked. Kick off another before we go into ultimate again. Alright. Gonna be over rather quickly here. I'll just basic my way through it. And done. So that's the Rogue Sith raid in a nutshell. It wasn't too difficult. You do usually wind up losing most of your team along the way, but as long as you control the battle, make sure the Annihilates don't go to Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, it's a fairly easy victory. 31 minutes in, victory complete. You can see it's not as long a fight as you'd expect it to be, but it's easy to get through as long as you know what you're doing and you got your team built up right. So that's it for now. This is Grand Admiral Starssaber. May the Force be with you. Signing out.